a revolution is underway in the art world. You are listening to the Art on the Blockchain podcast. For more information, visit openartsource.io. Also, connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Hey, and welcome back to the Art on the Blockchain podcast. I'm Rachel Terry, and before we dive into my conversation with András Györfi, I just wanted to give an update on a couple of our early access VIPs. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the program, our early access VIPs have registered to essentially be beta users for the platform when it's released. And they are going to help us refine it, give us feedback on what needs to be changed or improved. And you can kind of look at this program as getting in early on Robinhood or eTrade. It's a platform that's going to democratize the art world, and we're thrilled when we have new people sign up for our early access VIP program. Now, one of our VIPs, Iris Kufert-Revo, recently got representation from Waterhouse and Dodd, an esteemed gallery in New York and London. So congratulations, Iris. And Beth Forst, another one of our VIPs, recently released a coloring book that's on Amazon now. It's called I Feel. And it's a coloring book for kids, but it has a definite artsy appeal. So congratulations to you too, Beth. Now, if you're one of our early access VIPs and you have some news to share, please send it to me at rachel@openartsource.io. I would love to share it with everyone. And if you're interested in participating in the early access VIP program and you haven't yet signed up, just go to our website, openartsource.io, and you will see a button right towards the top where you can sign up. Now, I hope you all enjoy this conversation with András Györfi as much as I did. András is a cryptocurrency journalist, and I love his vision for what blockchain can do. It's a way to really put power into the hands of everyday people. But enough of listening to me. Let's listen to András Györfi. Wanted to welcome András Györfi to our podcast today. Now, András is a journalist in Budapest, and he's involved in some pretty exciting projects. We're going to talk about one of those today. So, András, would you just like to take a minute and introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about your magazine and what you're doing in Budapest?
Yeah, so hi, Rachel, and thanks a bunch for this opportunity. I'm a journalist. One of my main activities is working as the editor of cryptoacademia.com. We are the leading crypto journal in Hungary. I write 5 to 6 articles about crypto every week. I do 5-10 videos about crypto every week on our YouTube channel. So basically, I wake up and I go to bed and breathe crypto. And for the past 4 or 5 years now, I really enjoy it. I'm super excited. I also invest, which is obviously, if you're only a little bit smart, then you can make money, which is always nice. So I'm living the crypto dream, more or less.
That's great. You probably dream about crypto at night when you're writing about it all the time, huh?
I guess so.
That's great. Now, one of the projects that András is involved in that I think is so interesting and is actually how I came across him is this sculpture of Satoshi Nakamoto. And so can you tell us a little bit about that? How did that project come to be? Where did the idea come from?
Well, back in March, still during the lockdown, the curfew here in Budapest because of the coronavirus, I was sitting home and guess what? I was reading about crypto, but at that time, a specific field. What?
Shocking that you were at home reading
Shockingly, I was reading about crypto, a specific field which I'm sure you're familiar with, NFTs. So I was reading about non-fungible tokens. It was a time when this whole sub-market started to emerge back in March 2021. And the point is, I was reading about NFTs, how they are changing the art market, and my mind started working like blockchain, art, Bitcoin, Satoshi. Why doesn't Satoshi have a sculpture? I Googled it. There was one experiment in Kyiv in the neighboring Ukraine. They wanted to do an augmented reality sculpture. That they did that, and then they had a next plan to create a physical bronze sculpture, but for some reason that stopped. Actually, it's a funny story. They wanted to place it in the place of a Stalin sculpture, if you can believe that.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, but for some reason that project went south. So basically the field is open. We can do anything what we want. I contacted our editorial from Crypto Academia. Then I talked with Mr. Coin, which is the leading crypto exchange here in Hungary, Blockchain Budapest, which is the leading conference for crypto here in Hungary, and finally Blockchain Hungary, which is a crypto organization. The point is we formed a sort of an alliance, if you will. We have a great team. This is a completely non-profit project. After 2 or 3 weeks of hunting for a proper sculpture, we met Réka, Gergely and Tamás, Gilly, a super talented young couple. They're married and they work on sculptures together, mostly abstract and modern sculptures. We were very satisfied with their previous works. This is not easy. We do not know how Satoshi looked like, so I came up with the concept: what if his face, his or her face, we don't even know the gender, his or her face would be like a mirror, because we have this old saying on this market, we are all Satoshi. It doesn't really matter who Satoshi was. What mattered is the notion, the thoughts behind Bitcoin. So I came up with the shiny face, and I wanted the sculpture to have an old style hat with the Bitcoin logo attached. And then I spoke with Mr. Coin, with Gabriela, one of our team members, and she said, why, come on, Satoshi has to wear a hoodie. Come on, that's the Facebook generation. And I was like, wow, that really is an amazing idea. Then one of our other team members said that maybe we could put a time capsule in the bottom of the statue or inside the statue. So my point is that everybody came up with another great idea and another one. So finally, we started having a final concept. Actually, right now, as of now, the clay model, the clay sculpture is ready. We saw it for the first time last week. Yeah, 1 week ago today, we saw the final clay sculpture. And this week, it's going to have the mold, the final mold. And they're gonna, I'm not an expert on how sculptures are made. It's a bronze statue. Actually, it's not entirely bronze. It's a bronze aluminum composite. The reason for this is that this is the only way that they can make the face shiny enough to act as a mirror. So it's a special material. They're going to be finished with the final bronze statue within maybe 3 weeks. After that, we're going to have to wait for the thing that is going to stand on, about 1.7, 1.8 meters tall. We have to order that from Turkey. It's going to arrive hopefully in August. And in early September, we're going to reveal the world's first Satoshi Nakamoto statue to the world. We're hoping to invite a lot of people. Of course, you're invited as well. We want to invite Buterin from Ethereum, the head of Binance, and so on. We have a long list of VIP that we want to invite.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, I love the concept of having his face as a mirror to reflect whoever is standing in front of it looking at it, right? So yeah. that was your idea to do that, wasn't it?
That idea was mine, but as I said, the idea of a hoodie belongs to one of our team members. So it's a collaborative effort, as always.
Yeah. So tell me more about why you think it's important to have that reflection, the whole "we are Satoshi" thing. Can you elaborate on that a bit?
The reason for having a Satoshi statue is way beyond cryptocurrencies. I don't know what the price of Bitcoin is going to be 5 years from now. I think it's going to be $1 million, but I don't know. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. I don't know where this market is going. I think it's going to go up. But this is a secondary issue. Blockchain is the real deal. Blockchain is much more important than the prices of crypto. Because if you think about what blockchain, the transparency and the effectiveness and the simplicity of blockchain can do for aid, human aid, food supply, healthcare, all sorts of other types of charity, combating human trafficking, sex trafficking, art, and many, many other fields. So blockchain is much, much more important than the price of Cardano 3 years from now. So blockchain is the real, true reason why we decided that Satoshi deserves a statue.
Yeah. And we see that disruption happening all over the place. And I think we're probably just seeing a tiny, tiny fraction of what will happen in the future. And I really like your viewpoint on that, because I think a lot of people are looking at it as a gold rush right now, wouldn't you say? And in some ways it is, but there's a lot more going on in the blockchain development area.
Yeah, most people view this market as a get-rich-quick scheme. In many ways it is. If you make a lot of money, that's great, good for you. Try to spend it smart. But this whole thing is much more than making money. As I said, blockchain is what we see this, and not just us. Many people much smarter than me also agree that blockchain is a new chapter in IT, and especially in the world of the internet. It really has a true significance in all sorts of fields, logistics, as I said, charity, and many, many other things.
Yeah. Do you think that the emergence of blockchain right now is a reaction to just world conditions? Do you think that it's going to have just a revolutionary impact on the world at large, or do you think some certain industries will see it more than others?
Definitely some industries will see it more than others. I think every new technology has a similar pattern in terms of introduction. In the beginning, we think that it's more significant than it's actually going to be. Then this wave starts to go down, then up again when it finds its place. And I think blockchain will have a similar pattern, the same as artificial intelligence or the internet itself had in the early 2000s. We tend to overthink the significance of the new technology. This is going to be true to blockchain as well. There are a lot of use cases of blockchain out there that are not use cases at all. It's a useless, pointless, mindless use of a new technology. But there are already a few cases, for example, logistics, where it really can make a difference and add some value. And yes, it is in some sort, it is a reaction to the current state of the world. The coronavirus messed up a lot of things, and blockchain, as I said, in logistics, supply chain management, can solve at least a few of the new issues we are facing because of the pandemic.
Yeah. How about for the art world specifically? You know, you've been working with these artists to develop this sculpture. How do you see blockchain affecting the art world?
I think we're going to have pictures on the wall like I have and you two have 10 years from now, 25 years from now, and 100 years from now. I'm not sure if the traditional method and form of consumption of art is going to change because of blockchain. I do not see that happening. We're going to have galleries, museums, exhibitions, the same way as we have now and we had 100 years before. But there's a new market, digital art. Digital artists have been suffering from the problem of ownership on the internet for many, many years now, because it's so easy to copy and copy again and again and again, to send on social media, email, and so on, any form of a digital file. And art is no exception. Digital art is no exception. But with NFTs, we might have a solution, and I think it's working. So I don't see NFTs as a groundbreaking change in the art industry in general, but I do see it as an extremely new market, a huge innovation which creates a lot of new opportunities, especially for young artists who are struggling a lot to find the channels through which they can introduce their talent to the world. So NFTs are not going to bring, in my mind, a huge change in the art market. They're creating a new sub-market, a very important sub-segment within the art industry.
Interesting. Yeah. So here at Open Art Source, one of our founders, Cecil Pong, a couple of weeks ago, I saw on LinkedIn. It was when Ethereum had its big recent rise, and he had posted something about how Ethereum's not just, a gold rush, that some people are actually doing some really cool things with it. And he's been working on some solutions that really could democratize the art market, and using NFTs and AI and blockchain to kind of connect the digital with tangible art you can hang on your wall. And there are lots of different things happening right now that I think will change. The art market has been such an insider type market, where you have to really have connections. And it kind of reminds me of E-Trade years ago, where run-of-the-mill everyday people couldn't just trade stocks. And now college kids are trading stocks on their phones all day when they should be paying attention to class, right? And so hopefully art will come down so it's, art can be for everybody and not just people who have connections with galleries or, lots and lots of money to spend on verifying the authenticity of art, which has been a big problem too.
Exactly. Well, blockchain is all about decentralization and the way art is working. I'm not an expert in the art field. I don't claim to be an expert. You know much more about the art market as I do. But what I'm hearing, it's highly centralized.
Yes.
Based on a handful of powerful people. I'm sure it's the same in the US. It's like this here in Europe. And of course, this has its own values as well. They have a lot of experience and so on. But as we have seen hundreds of years of human history, if individuals get too much power, that rarely leads to good things. So, and especially in art, which should be about expressing yourself, your unique way of seeing color, seeing shapes, seeing the world, seeing nature, seeing emotions, and so on. So yes, I absolutely agree. It's an amazing thing if a young kid here in Central and Eastern Europe has an amazing talent, he or she should be able to present his or her talent to the world like this in an instant. And blockchain might give these people that opportunity.
Yeah, I love what you said about the power. It shouldn't be just congeal in a few people, and it's not healthy for society. It's not healthy for individuals, and blockchain really takes care of that. Can you tell us a little bit more about these artists that you have found to create the sculpture? You mentioned they're a married couple, a young couple.
Yes, Réka, Gergely, and Tamás, Gilly, that's their name. They're a married young couple. They live in a beautiful small city here besides the capital, Budapest. They work mostly in abstract works, abstract sculptures, abstract forms. This is one of their first sculptures where they are presenting a human form. Not the very first, but one of the first. So we did take a bit of a risk, but it was worth it because Satoshi looks great. Oh,
that's great. I think I saw some pencil designs online. Yes. So that was probably the first step, and now you've got the clay.
Yes, now we have the clay model completely done.
Yeah. Oh, it's exciting. I just love that you're doing this project, and it's cool to think that people could be out. It's going to be in a park, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to be in the Graphisoft park, which is also an interesting story. Graphisoft was a Hungarian startup in the 1980s. They were one of the first, or the first in the world, to place architectural design in software. Today, that's obvious, but back then it was a huge innovation. And believe it or not, Steve Jobs was one of their first investors.
Oh.
And they grew huge. They sold most of the company, I believe, about 5-10 years ago. But the point is that they created their own park with beautiful office buildings. They have these very strict rules. You can't go higher than 2 stories or maybe 3 stories. A lot of trees, beautiful, all sorts of beautiful plants. And they have a statue of Steve Jobs to honor him. So Satoshi's statue is going to be a few hundred feet away from the Steve Jobs statue.
Interesting. We were living in England a couple of years ago, and there are places where you will see statues of kind of the Industrial Revolution leaders. Anyway, late 19th century, there were all these statues created that showed people who had made really big leaps forward with the Industrial Revolution. And that changed the world and brought up the standard of living for a lot of people. And so I think it's so interesting now, here we are, 21st century, and now we have some new innovations that are doing similar things, that are putting things into the reach of everyday people to really change their lives and give them more opportunities. And so this park with Steve Jobs, with Satoshi Nakamoto, it's probably the first that I've heard of a place that's really memorializing the people who are making these changes that benefit just every man, every person. So I
believe so.
Yeah, it's so cool. I'm really excited that you're doing this and just really appreciate all of your work. So will you keep us
Thank you, and I hope we're gonna meet at when we're revealing the statue in September.
I would love that. That would be fantastic. We would love on our social media to be able to show like when your updates, like when you have the clay thing that you want to show and just what's going on. So if you'll let us know, we will spread the word.
Sure.
Fantastic. Anything else that you'd like to say to our listeners? Any other words of wisdom?
Early September, stay tuned. Satoshi statue is coming soon. I hope to see all of you. Everyone is invited to come. So please join us early September.
Great. Thanks so much, András. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And see you in September. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Join us next time by subscribing to the podcast. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And if you would like to participate in our early access VIP, go to our website and join. We'd love to have you. Till next time.